Now, we do know of a couple of lightweights that are already making a big impression on the automotive world. The Toyota Corolla GTS and MR2 sports car. Both use a new but not so new way to improve small engine power and economy. A 16-valve double overhead cam cylinder head. The reason for 4 valves per cylinder? Well, it's simple. Fuel and air can flow more easily through the cylinder head. The engine breathes better. That means more power. 112 horses, in fact, for this 16-valve twin overhead cam engine, and that's a lot for a 1.6-liter 4-cylinder. 4-valve technology is used in racing, but you don't necessarily want all the valves to work at slow speeds in a street engine. So Toyota came up with a variable induction system which shuts off the flow to 1 pair of valves at each cylinder until the engine revs above 4,300 RPM. We got our first chance to sample this new engine in the car maker's newest model, the MR2. Here's another party's version of the inexpensive mid-engine sports car. And this is a sports car, thanks to that engine, at least in part. It pushed the 2,350-pound Toyota, that's without air conditioning, through the quarter mile in just 16.3 seconds at 82 miles per hour. Coupled with the MR2's somewhat short gearing, the high-revving twin cam will get you to any destination ahead of time. A run from 0 to 60 took just 9.7 seconds. And a dash to the end of a 500-foot on-ramp, 8.6 seconds at 57. And since the MR2 begs for comparison, it is just a hair slower than a V6 Pontiac Fiero. But there's more to a sports car than a 7,500 RPM red line. There's the feeling of being in touch with the road in any situation. The brakes did their part to inspire confidence. There was some premature locking since the brakes were very new, but the MR2's 4-wheel ventilated disc averaged a short 120 feet from 55 miles per hour. You get the same good feelings in a turn. Our car's modest 185/60 14-inch tires kept overall cornering speeds down, but the MR2 does handle just like it should, like a sports car. There's minimal body roll, little front scrub, and just enough power and weight at the rear to give the back tires a chance to do some steering of their own. The design to be a sports car feel of the MR2 is a little surprising, since the car's front and rear suspension components come right from the Toyota Corolla parts bin. But you won't find any leftovers inside. What you will find is good support from seats designed to hold you well in place. Also, instrumentation that has all the usual sports car readouts. Enough headroom for 6-footers. And best of all, a shift linkage that's smoother and more precise than any we've sampled in a mid-engine car. We do have some complaints about the MR2. Its steering doesn't offer enough road feel, and the bodywork is a bit too creased and too cluttered with black plastic add-ons. And as you might have expected, there's a lack of luggage space. But after all, this is a sports car, and we're happy Toyota decided to build one. But if you must have room with your fun, Toyota has a solution for that too. It's called the Corolla GTS. Now it gets the same 16-valve 1.6-liter engine as the MR2. But you get room for 4 adults, and a little more, depending on whether you opt for the 2-door sedan or the more useful 3 doors of our test hatchback. Now, this is a commuter car in appearance and function, but it sure isn't in spirit. Straight line performance is only a little slower than the MR2's. The GTS has the same amount of horsepower, but a few more pounds to pull around. It squirted through our quarter mile in just 16.7 seconds anyway, at 79 miles per hour. Taller gearing keeps the GTS from showing up the MR2. Still, a 0 to 60 time of 9.8 seconds is nothing to be ashamed of. Likewise, a 500-foot sprint of 9.6 seconds at 56 miles per hour. The GTS is based on the rear-drive Corolla Sport, and that's a good thing. It's nice to drive a high-performance small car that doesn't suffer from front-drive torque steer. The Corolla does lack some refinement, though. The gear shift lever's a bit too bulky, so smooth downshifts are hard. But Toyota did a good job of preparing the rest of the car for duty with its twin-cam engine. The GTS gets bigger tires, stiffer anti-sway bars and springs, not to mention gas-filled shocks at the rear. Handling is predictable, but we did notice a touch of trailing throttle tail twitch. And like the MR2, the GTS's steering could use a little more road feel. But the 4-wheel disc brakes are up to their mission. Stopping distances were even better than the MR2. From 55, they averaged 115 feet, and stops were straight despite a lot of rear lock when cold. On the inside, most everything is typical Corolla, with the exception of the multi-adjustable driver's seat. Instrumentation is good, though some staff members would have traded a gauge or two for a conventional 3-spoke steering wheel. That may be a picky point considering the Corolla GTS has a lot to offer for its modest $9,298 base price. The MR2 will set you back a little more, $10,999. Either way, it's easy to see that both of Toyota's Sweet 16 street machines are going to enjoy instant and long-running sports car fan demand.